Let's Build a Zoo is on the surface a fairly standard version of zoo building sim. Probably the most standout part of the first glance comes from the graphical style, which lovingly renders all the adorable and not so adorable animals in the pixel art. It adds a layer of innate cuddliness to do everything, which helps a lot you when you theoretically going to be looking after hundreds of animals. Appearances can be incredibly devised too, and that's what made the case. When you first stand off, you should so by getting a gift of animals for another zoo. This allows you to earn a bit of money, then start making relationship with other zoos and either buy animals from them or trade you on. Of course, your stock of animals is constantly in a flux, and there are living things that have a lot of sex and then die. Each of the animals has a lot of variants too, so there might be 10 different kinds of pigs, for example, and you can unlock the full genome by developing the game or by breeding any animal in every variant. So, shops, toilets, and keeping the place clean all function in the same way they have for decades in these games, but creating the perfect environment for each of your living attractions takes a little more thought. Each animal has different requirements for the type of enclosure they require. Pigs live on the grass while the camels live on the sand, alongside a bunch of the basic needs they're filling. Food and water is pretty basic but common shit, and the enrichment might involve some tweaking. It's always very satisfying to put each animal in the enclosure to suit them perfectly, and watching a snake bouncing furiously on the trampoline never gets old. Once you build a tracking new home for an animal, you need to find one or put in three. This is easier said than done through, because you rarely get access to a few new specifies without trading something from your park in return. Starting with pigs and rabbits, you'll soon notice offer from other zoos. One of your fairly disappointing bunnies might be worth swapping for a couple of capybaras, but only if you got exotic fluffy tailed beads and in the zoo China needs. The whole process is a little long-winded, and especially in the opening hours, you'll be start of new criteria. The first of big between the Let's Build a Zoo and other Tyson game is in animal breeding. Each species of animal has 10 different variants, and breeding different combinations with bringing within a chance of getting a new one. Before you know, it's a hair, white, brown, and Canada G's all mining together, exciting customers and opening up new trade opportunities. Different colors of scales, fur, and feathers in the one thing, but if you really want to create an attraction while traveling to you buy first different animals together. Using some magical future technology, you'll be able to create some good spectacular and warrenous monster to display for all to see. From the first time I witnessed a goose snake flapping around with the rattlesnakes, I realized this was the game for me. As much as I loved slicing animals together, I thought it was such a shame how difficult the game makes it to stand it with it. You can only fuse animals together if you breed every single of their variants, which takes a huge time investment. Doing this for dozens and dozens of animals in such a huge grind, and it meant I didn't get to make nearly enough monsters for my liking. There are few workouts for the legendary splicing process, especially if you don't mind taking the evil moral path. Let's Build a Zoo has a robot suit morality system to dive into, and rewards for being as good or evil as possible. As so often in case, being a good guy is the way less rewarding than being a villain. Getting access to the winter berries and recycling is much less exciting than painting a goose to look like a peacock and buying a black market animal from Doji Joseph and his blonde mullet. The more Let's Build a Zoo you play, the deeper the system and upgrades you unlock. There is a huge grind of new items you can unlock with the research points. As the hours go by, you walk able to grow crops from the animals, build a subway for getting around the park, and even find various ways to dispose of decreased animals. The two paths are very obvious when it comes to the morality. A good zookeeper will make sure they producing clean energy, looking after their animals, and trying to improve the numbers in the wild by releasing storing specimen. It also means that you'll be trying to produce your own food using a farm, and even offsetting the CO2 being as kind as possible in game, because I end up feeling guilty otherwise, so I went down this path. The good path is literally, well, not literally, but replayed with ways to be a force for good is not just your own zoo, but also the world in general. It feels good to give your animals trampolines and ropes to play with, and making sure they're happy will lead to them living longer and visitors being happier. If, on the other hand, you rather go down the path that keep up making money and efficiency above all else, then you probably want to go down the less ethical road. This road will have not recycling sewage water to feed your animals. It's also mean you can siphon energy instead of creating it, and even use your animals as livestock for glue factories or food production. Plus, rather than that just dealing with the other zoos, you can deal with the exotic animals traders too, or even paint a dog to look like a peacock. Not for this spacing choice, I'll be making this review and telling you that all game throws too much and too quickly. Instead, I'm amazed by how well Let's Build a Zoo manages you, without even really giving you explicit instruction, just as I was getting annoyed by not being able to release multiple animals at a time. I gained the ability to realize groups of them into the wild, as I found myself wishing for a better way to figure out what research to go for it. I noticed the filters that highlight the transport or enclosed types or food stalls. I do think there is a lot going on here, and I don't think a bit more hand-holding would have killed or annoyed me, but it's also fairly intuitive most of the time. The only thing that ever wound me up was a message saying my zookeepers were getting stuck, but not showing me where, and never seems listening for do. Aside from them, I'm generally taking with Let's Build a Zoo in a way the most sim games just don't manage. It's adorable, it's a little maniacal, and it's the first game while I found myself accidentally spending 4 hours in while reviewing. That's the highest praise.